What's up, everybody, and welcome into this special edition of Good Karma Wrestling, along with Brian Rowitz from ESPN West Palm. I'm Jonathan Hood from ESPN Chicago, and Gabe Neitzel, he is golfing with Sheamus apparently, above and beyond, and out there over the pond. That's what
I thought he was scouting for NXT UK. He was trying to find new talent over there.
Okay, is that what he's doing? Yes. Okay, well, maybe that is the case. He's doing that, of course, with funny pants.
Right, of course. There's the way you do it over there.
I guess. Could you imagine me in that? My God, they'd arrest me. Those funny pants. Are you kidding me? They'd have me put in jail. Nonetheless, we are here. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our podcast as well as on YouTube, youtube.com. Look for Good Karma Wrestling. And the thing that's great, Brian, is that we're continuing to grow, and we want to thank everybody for checking out the podcast. We're growing every week because of you. You getting the word out. You can follow us on X as well, on Twitter at GKW_wrestling. We can interact there, as well as on TikTok as well, is where you can find Good Karma Wrestling. So the show just continues to, as wrestling gets hotter, our show gets hotter.
Exactly. Plenty of interviews. You can find them all there. Cody Rhodes, Athena. Just trying to think of some of the names we've had throughout the last year and a half. Go check it out there on YouTube.
Yeah, we appreciate all of the patronage and the love that you've been giving us here on Good Karma Wrestling as we continue to build this thing. Well, we always got some great topics and great interesting things happening in the world of professional wrestling, but there's one big hot button topic we got to address first before we get into the 3 count, Brian. What is that big topic?
Wrestle Dream came to a close Saturday night. Jon Moxley and his crew, who, not to BCC, just Jon Moxley and friends, they beat Bryan Danielson. Mox, the new champ. Danielson's wrestling career reportedly is over, surprisingly. We talked about it a week ago. What was your reaction to the end of Danielson versus Moxley?
Well, first of all, I think in professional wrestling, the time-honored tradition is when someone is leaving or something is going to be dramatic to a professional wrestling company, you want to leave the right way by letting the fans appreciate you and applaud, something like that. And what we saw here is tragedy. Right. That's what we saw. We didn't have the good feel like Sting when he was done. We didn't have that when a guy was leaving the company. No, we had tragedy. Right. And to this point, I believe, Brian, that this is what Bryan Danielson wanted. Right. I mean, so what happened is ultimately is that Bryan Danielson, he loses the championship. Okay, that's a conversation we can have, losing to Jon Moxley. But the afterbirth of him, once again, almost being murdered on TV with the plastic bag. Then from there, you have Wheeler Yuta doing it, and then trying to break his neck, trying to pulverize his neck with a chair. And now we say good night, everybody, from Tacoma. That's it?
Well, you're our historian. Do you have many feel-good send-offs where they're being choked and strangled to death? Do you remember many of those in the day?
I do. Oh, okay. I do not remember someone almost dying on their last time being a full-time wrestler.
I guess Flair, technically, his one last match, I mean, we might see him again. He technically did die in that match, as he told us. He had to be woken up by his son-in-law.
Yes, but not by a plastic bag.
No, right.
That's a whole difference. That's the whole thing, Brian. It's and I feel like Danielson said, this would be cool. But don't you feel like you've killed the town? I mean, those people are there knowing that Danielson could lose. It's Tacoma, people feeling good about it. And then he gets stretchered off. There is no on the mic saying, hey, thank you. It's been a great 20-plus years. I love my home state of Washington. Thank you for your support. I know I fell short now, but one day I'll be back. Nope, you don't get a microphone. You get nothing. You get Danielson stretchered off.
Yeah, but that is the Danielson way. And honestly, I was shocked in the moment. We talked about it a week ago, and we all were sort of like, well, no, it's not going to end this weekend. You could dream about it, but no, they're still going to move on. There's other stuff. I was shocked when it happened. But then every part after that, down to Excalibur crying on the mic and doing the commentary, they are making stars. Darby, Orange, Private Party, Daniel Garcia. The moments now when those guys ultimately knock off the heels, because right now it's a company where every single champion is a heel. I imagine that's on purpose. Those are going to be big moments. I've seen the clip going around of this is going to be Bryan's return and it's Austin coming down and helping Foley win the title. That's what's going to happen. And we talked about, hey, is Darby a champion? Is Orange a world champion? By the end of this, one of these guys is going to be a world champion, and it's because of what happened Saturday night.
let's talk about this aspect of it, Brian. And I know we've seen this in wrestling from time to time. Ultimately, when you boil it all down, what John Moxley's doing, I think it's great. There's no question. Like, to start off these shows, these dynamites with him in a pickup truck, or someplace, and it's just some away from the arena or someplace in the dark, and he's talking about how he is going to kind of, I guess, reimagine AEW group. He's made Marina Shafir a star just in a few weeks. We laughed at the time, that quote saying, thinking that she was something like, she's nothing. And she's like, she doesn't get it. But
well, to be fair, we laughed at that comment because the reason he thought she was a star is because she wrestled barefoot. That was his big takeaway.
That's true. It's like, we were not sure of what that meant, because she. I mean, there's been plenty of wrestlers that wrestled barefoot. We just thought that was strange.
Yes.
But then you've got a new BCC member. You've got Pac. You have got Claudio Castagnoli. Okay, and so now Wheeler Yuta looks like he's part of it as well. But here's what I want to ask you about. Do you think after 5 years, it's good to have the creative that's ultimately saying AEW sucks and I'm here to fix it? Because don't you feel like if you do that, you're kind of talking to the internet wrestling community that thinks AEW does suck?
Right. And I think that's ultimately why this is working. We know how tapped into the social and the internet that Tony Khan is. He's now leaning in and taking advantage of it, saying like, yes, this sucks. This is what we're doing. We see it with the Young Bucks, like the fact that the criticism of like, oh, they don't make stars, things like that. And then now saying that doesn't work for me, brother. Like, they're leaning in on that also. And yes, it's a little inside, but ultimately when you're making these stars and the little bit of storytelling where even the fact that Mox isn't carrying the title around, we've talked a lot about characters, going back to the Fiend, where it's like, sometimes you don't need a belt. Yeah. Mox probably doesn't need a belt right now. And he's acknowledging that. He's like, whatever, I'm just here to fix the company. I just happen to be world champion also. Those little details, like, this is good storytelling. And the end, whenever it might come, I think is going to be one hell of a payoff.
I don't disagree that it's great storytelling. I think you still have more layers.
Sure.
And I believe what you said is the point is that you want to make new stars. The same stars have been around for 5 years. I'm just saying that from a business standpoint, even if you are just helicoptering into AEW and said, WWE is okay, but I want to see what's over here. I got a former WWE guy that says AEW sucks.
Sure.
And I'm here to fix it. I'm just saying, like, because we've seen this before. We saw this with Russo and Bischoff. Let's reset the company because WCW sucks. Okay, that did not work.
Right.
All right, Vince McMahon and Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, and I believe Shane was in there as well. Remember this thing in the ring? We want to change things because things haven't been going well. They didn't say the company sucks. They were just playing a role like, yes, we understand you guys are upset with how we're doing things and creative, and we're here to change things. We want to listen to you, the fan, knowing that was BS. But they've never gone as far as to say, we're terrible, we're changing things. The farthest that Vince went was, and you will always remember this promo, just like, good guys versus bad guys, pal. We're not going to insult your intelligence. You remember this, right? Right in the middle of the Monday Night Wars while WCW was kicking WWF's ass. He goes, we're going to change things. But he didn't say he suck. It's just a tough business model. I'm just saying.
But I think there is, like, in moderation, because, like, going back to the Monday Night Wars, I feel like the NWO was sort of that, saying, like, oh, we're the outsiders. This company's not great. And then it went too far, and then everyone's part of the NWO, and then the NWO is cool, and ultimately WCW is dying. If this doesn't go that far, and this doesn't end with 17 people joining the new NWO, then it works out. Like, if Darby's a world champion, Private Party are the tag team champions, Garcia's the TNT champion, Orange is knocking off Okada. Like, you have stars, and you then have a future to build around.
I watched the Young Bucks and Private Party, and my response to that after watching that isn't Private Party in the same spot they were 5 years ago?
100%.
We watched the match. You and I watched the match, and it's like, damn good match, 5-star match. But then what?
No, honestly, I'd say they might even be a step back from where they were 5 years ago. Because 5 years ago, they're beating the Bucks in that Dynamite. You're getting excited about them. I remember searching out their stuff when they announced on BT that they were being signed. I'm like, oh, these guys are good. Then they beat the Bucks. They don't win that tournament. It's like, all right, there's a future here. And then they end up in the Matt Hardy vortex. Like, but if 6 months from now they're beating the Bucks and they're tag champs, that's a step up. That's them moving forward. Even some of the promos they're cutting right now, like the emotion from Darby Allin, Daniel Garcia doing his stuff last night with the Elite backstage saying like, hey, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, they're really giving these guys some characters. And yes, this is us giving Tony the benefit of the doubt that this will have a payoff, because we have seen guys get hot and it's like, let's take off for a few weeks. And then, you're Wardlow. So it's us giving the benefit of the doubt that there will be a payoff. But if there is, I think it'll be a great one.
You know what I got out of this so far, Brian, is, and I think it's a shoot from Moxley's standpoint, everybody wants to party. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to have fun. Everybody's playing grab ass. And here's the thing, Moxley has never been that guy. No. Never been that guy in AEW. He's always been, this is the reason why he's a 4-time champion, because he's constant. He's not doing gimmicks like Jericho every other month to try to do something new and trying to refresh his character. Mox has always been the same guy. And what is a shoot is, okay, here's the Dark Order. What are they doing? Are they doing comedy skits?
Right.
What about over here, Private Party? What are they partying for? Here's Darby Allin, this death-defying dude, but just weird. Here's a guy here that's dancing that doesn't know if he's a sports entertainer or a wrestler, and Daniel Garcia. I think that's a feeling of, we've partied for 5 years. It's about having some adults in the room and some wrestlers you can believe in. Not because, they're funny and, it's cute. No, it's, you know what? We're going to wrestle and we're going to battle and we're going to make you, in a way, a man in the ring instead of just being these characters. Like the Dark Order getting beat down, like, even though it's funny, Johnny Hungy's running after the truck afterwards. I mean, that's kind of strange. But nonetheless, I mean, they get beat down, and it's kind of like, okay, so are they going to be serious now?
Sure. And that's why I think the Moxley aspect of this adds this, because this is basically what they were doing with the Elite 6 months ago when Tony's getting pile driven and things like that. And then they sort of went away from it. Moxley having, I guess, that realism and that just not giving a shit and doing what Moxley does, I think does add to it, because when he's cutting those promos, like, oh yeah, I can see this. Like you said, that realism, that shoot stuff. And I think that ultimately what's adding to this story.
Now, just compare it to the WWE, just quickly. So it's R-Truth, and then what else is funny on that show?
That's about it.
Women's side, Otis is interesting character. I mean, even Chad Gable's trying to be more serious with this whole group that he has now. I saw the vignette they did. Okay, I get it. So, and so think about how they do business in WWE, because that's how Triple H, I think he looks at it from that standpoint. All right, we need contenders and serious wrestlers and guys that men and women who can go. On the other side, it's been a party a lot, and it's been whatever you guys want to do, whatever you want to do. But now I think that if they keep going in this direction, the focus will be so much better for this company, because now it's like, I've seen these guys for 5 years. I've seen everything. No, but you haven't seen them as like serious contenders and champions that you feel like, yep, I've grown up watching these guys. They're going to be something. Yeah.
And I think also like that Jerry Lynn segment with Orange on Saturday was super awkward and sort of weird, but like even seeing Orange be serious. So in the past when we've seen like, hey, I'm going to try, and him dropping those little things like, oh, okay, this is going to be impressive. Like him getting serious, I think will mean a lot. And ultimately the growth of him and the growth of this company.
It's, I'm really into this whole thing that Moxley's doing. It's a different thing. So it's kind of just pushing me off of the whole Shane McMahon's coming in thing, because if this is Mox himself saying, this is not your company anymore, it's my company, I still would like to have, is it a new BCC? Is there merch? Because right now it's
a plain white T-shirt.
That's not merch.
No,
that's
what
not
if they
merch.
Put BCC like on the arm here.
Okay, they Major League Baseball.
Yes, exactly.
What are you saying?
Yeah, let's put it there.
A little something right there. No, I like. I can. It's a group that I can dig. I like it, Brian.
Yeah. But this is a lot of fun. I think, we've given them a hard time for some of the storytelling, but I think this is pretty cool, and I hope it pays off the way it did.
And God bless to Bryan Danielson. Hopefully he'll be okay he.
I'm not ready for him to leave, though. Like, the fact that there's no Bryan Danielson matches, like, it makes me a little more annoyed that we did waste a pay-per-view on Jack Perry, but that's where we are.
It was sad to see him lose like that, because it went from I'm done being a full-time wrestler, which means I don't know when he's coming back. But, Bryan's been such a lightning rod, man. Watched him at ROH. as going down the street here to watch him wrestle at the field house, and to see him no longer part of the company for a while.
Yeah.
And it's going to be tough to see. Or maybe he's lying. He'll come back next week. Who knows?
I'm fine with that. But if it is the end, I'm glad he got this final run, like this AEW run. He's a guy that I could see back in the WWE one day. Like, I don't think he really burned bridges there.
Mm-hmm.
But him getting to just go out there and wrestle, like, has been a lot of fun. And I hope I'm in some of those bingo halls that he shows up in 5 years from now when he needs to, scratch that wrestling itch. Because that's going to be him.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a full retirement. Not yet.
He's like, there's a show in my backyard. Like, all right, fine. I'll go wrestle in front of 300 people. It's like, oh, hey, Bryan Danielson's here.
Leave your comments as we have our conversation here on Good Karma Wrestling. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and subscribe to our podcast and YouTube as well, youtube.com. Look for Good Karma Wrestling. We always got a 3 count, 3 big topics around professional wrestling. What is number 1?
The PWI 250 came out this week, ranking the top 250 women's wrestlers. It goes from October 1st of 23 to September 30th of 24. Topping this year's list, Toni Storm. She's followed by Jordynne Grace, Rhea Ripley, Micah, and Stephanie Valcour. Who would you have? Who's the women wrestler that has had the best 2024?
Well, the most impact for me is timeless Toni Storm. I think that PWI got it right.
Mm-hmm.
I think they got the pick right. I think they got the cover wrong. How's that not a black and white cover?
That is fair. You're missing the boat there. You might save money also doing it black and white.
I understand. I mean, I don't understand how come that cover wasn't black and white. I mean, and here's how I know, Brian. I have you seen her in person down there? When they were in Florida?
I think I've seen her at AEW shows, but I don't think I ever saw her besides that.
As timeless Toni Storm?
No.
Okay, so she came up here to Chicago, and it's not the wrestling standing ovation, it's the, oh my God, the appreciation of the character, like that kind of thing, like Academy Awards, because she won an award that she made up, and she's running up the ramp, she stumbled, fell, got back up, and it was just one of those things where it was a slow clap. The fans it wasn't like, oh my God, this is awesome. It was the appreciation of who she has become. Timeless Toni Storm is so great. Quick story. I watch wrestling. You watch wrestling. Sometimes the wife will come into the room that you're watching, right? You just look over your shoulder like, oh, hey, anything you need? And my wife sat down and she goes, who's that? Mm-hmm. And I said, Timeless Toni Storm. She says, that is awesome.
Yes.
Now think about that, right? She's not a wrestling fan. I told you a story of during the time of the NWO at the United Center, 20,000 people sold out. Dennis Rodman shows up. She's next to me. She's asleep. So that's the kind of wrestling fan she is. There wasn't even interested. People are like throwing babies in the air and just like, oh my God, it's Rodman. It's the NWO. It's the coolest thing. Hottest shit in wrestling. She's asleep. But Toni Storm, though, she was interested in, and I think that's why she deserves number 1.
Yeah, I think the storytelling, like we know she can go in the ring. We've known that for years, but now to have that storytelling, and she's still doing it even on social media. Like she hasn't even been on AEW television in months, and I'm still entertained by her on social media, cutting some of the promos. The way she went full go into it has added so much to the point where we talked about on the show when Mariah May turned. We knew that was going to happen. We knew there was going to be a turn. But when she did it and how they did it, it still was so shocking. And ending with that scene of, Tony bloody and the shoe and stuff, like, this is amazing. Like, that is great storytelling there. So she's a clear-cut number 1. Like, I don't think there really is a close second. Even looking at this list, Jordynne Grace has been great in the ring. She got that Rumble moment. Rhea Ripley, I think, deserves a lot of praise also. Like, if I had to go with the number 2, I would put Rhea up there and everything she's done in carrying Raw. But Toni Storm, by far, the number 1 on this list this year.
So what is interesting about this list here, and, it's not a major issue, but I would say Storm is 1, Rhea Ripley 2. Mm-hmm. And it's not even about the wrestling as much as the storytelling, this whole love triangle thing with Liv and Dom. I just think it's awesome. Jordynne Grace has been great in TNA and NXT. So when she can cross over and be able to be, this like dual star in 2 companies, that's great. Willow Nightingale is at 8 at this list. I'd probably move her up.
Yeah,
I'd move Athena up. So I would have them in the 4 and 5 spots. I know no one's seeing Athena. I understand that, except me.
Right,
it's just me. And that's fine. I'm an ROH Honor Club person, but she's doing the best work. And I think it is just bizarre that Tony Khan does not put her on a Dynamite, the Sky Point Collision or Sky Point Rampage.
Yeah.
Yes, I have no understanding why she hasn't been on there on a regular basis, because if you're not into her wrestling, that's fine. Her character, she is as hot as a heel as anybody in this company over in 2024, and still can't get on the TV. So I don't understand. So I think that would be my 5. Bayley deserves to be on this list in the top 10 as well. I would say that Liv Morgan is definitely on this top 10 as well.
Yeah, Liv's at 12.
Way too low.
Yeah. So that was surprising to me. The Athena thing is odd. I mean, when we had her on a year ago, or was it Mania? Maybe Mania time we had her on?
Yeah.
She seemed to indicate that, like, oh, it's coming soon that we're going to see her on AEW television. So the fact that she's even 10 is surprising, because they talk about prominence and, storytelling. If no one's seeing what you're doing, it's, the tree falls in the wood sort of thing, where when you watch those Ring of Honor pay-per-views, you see her and it's like, oh yeah, she can go. So that's still baffling to me. I agree, Willow going up there, because Willow had those moments, and I have her, honestly, as one of my matches of the week this week. Her and Mariah on Saturday was a hell of a match. And continuing to tell stories there, where I think when eventually she gets that big win, it's going to be a massive moment for AEW. Like, she's won titles, she's gotten moments, but her being the face of the women's division is going to be a big deal because of the storytelling they've done and the way they've built her up to, she's happy Willow, but also we could see that, hardcore edge as well.
There's someone that's missing off of this list, Brian. Someone's missing off of this list that I have right in front of me, right here. And that, what's missing on this list right here in front of me?
Who is that?
I have no CEO on this list in the top 20. How about that?
She was hurt.
I'm just saying. She's not a top 20 wrestler in the business in 2024? No?
If you're out most of the year, I'm not going to speak to the Stardom women on this list, but Bayley, Willow, Io, Becky, Lyra. Lyra's at 20. I don't know if there's really anyone I'm taking off to put her on.
Yeah, Slamovich has been very good at TNA. I've seen her. The Stardom women, I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've read about them, but I haven't seen the matches to know. I know Fakura, I already saw her. I saw her earlier this year. She's tremendous, Brian. She is. Yep. I saw her in New Japan in Chicago. She's going to be something special in WWE. There's no question. But I'm just saying, I mean, I'm just, RIP to your mentions. If there is no Mercedes Moné on this list, people are not going to be happy.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. It's just I don't know. She's been hurt. So I don't know how else to defend it. She's had her moments, but it just hasn't been good enough. Mm-hmm. The one I'm trying to look up, where was Tiffany Stratton? Because she's not top 20.
Oh, she is not top 20. No. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm looking at this. I don't see her in this top 20.
So that's one that I would make a case for, honestly, over Mercedes based on this year.
Okay, man. It's your mentions. You go ahead and do that. Just telling you, people
hasn't been there.
I've watched her Wednesday night in San Jose in her matchup that she had against Queen Emanata. Solid match, right? Solid. And then she's standing there and she's doing the CEO dance, and there's just no response. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it was quite. Tiffany Stratton by 32.
Okay, well she'll be in that top 20.
Yeah,
top 15 next year.
Yeah. And even looking around her, 34, Bianca. I feel like she had a down year.
Yes.
So her being down a little bit. Yeah, but that's surprising. Nia Jax at 22. That's someone I also would make a case for to be a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
Her transformation, I'm bad at the timeline thing, so maybe she wasn't there a full year. But the way she has transformed into being a star, I think she deserves a lot of credit for that.
Mm-hmm. I would say that too. I'm kind of scrolling through this list. I tell you what, here's what I don't want PWI to do. I don't want them to have women that should be in the top 15 on this list and then next year make up for it.
Sure.
Don't come back. Don't come back now and just say, oh, look, we believe that, the woman that was the queen of the ring, and the champion should be in the top 10. No, she's been doing top 10, top 15 work.
Yeah.
A number of these women that you're talking about. So yeah, I totally agree with that. But it just, as we look at this list, it just goes to show you how much the business has grown. The business is beyond Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair.
Mm-hmm.
The business is stronger. People thought that with Charlotte Flair's not there, that the women's division would just collapse. No.
When was the last? Yeah, like Becky's who we saw most recently, and that's still been months at this point.
Yeah. And Charlotte Flair we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, which is awesome for the company and the growth of the company, and AEW seeing all the women in the top 10. And then you have someone like a Jordan Grace who just works wherever the hell she wants at this point. Like, it's pretty cool to see that growth.
Yeah, so I'm happy for that, because when you start seeing this, Brian, first of all, wrestling, it just becomes like a maze to you at some point. You don't go, all right, let's adjust it to women's match. Here we go.
Right.
It's because the women's match, especially like in a TNA or like in New Japan, they can go 15, 20 minutes. It'll be as entertaining or more entertaining than the men.
Yep, I agree.
I don't even notice anymore. It's just like, there's another match that's in the ring. Right, and they're doing their own share of storytelling. Like what Liv is doing right now is just incredible. She's on with us. The personality's there. She's champion. Her being champion is like the 8th most interesting thing about Liv Morgan right now.
Like they're getting the main event of a 2-hour Raw and deserving it. The women.
Yes.
Like there's only so much space now with an hour less of Raw, and like they deserve that main event spot.
Yes. I don't see gender. Wait, well, Triple H would tell you that he just sees talent. That's what he would say.
Of course.
So, all right, what's next?
All right, number 2. Dave Meltzer this weekend reported that The Rock is not booked for WrestleMania 41 because of his busy schedule. The Rock did respond to a fan on Instagram saying, quote, "Don't believe any of that bullshit." So I guess clarifying. But let's play a hypothetical here. If there is no Rock in Vegas at Mania 41, what would main event WrestleMania?
Well, which night are we talking about? 1 or 2?
The big one. So 2. I think 2 is the main event, right?
Oh, is it the big one? Is that what we call it? The WrestleMania Night 2, the big one. Is that it?
Yeah,
because
thinking back to this year, it was the tag match night 1, and then the actual world title match and finishing the story was night 2. So it's a Sunday. It's night 2.
Okay. So Cody is still the champion. And here's the thing. Without The Rock being involved in one way, shape, or form, Roman would be involved in it somehow. But then what about the rest of it? See, here's the thing. Here's what we've seen with WWE. It's so top heavy with this bloodline story that there's Jey Uso, there's Jimmy Uso, there's Paul Heyman, there's the Gorillas of Destiny, there's Jacob Fatu. Okay, great. Is Jacob Fatu, Cody Rhodes, night 2 worthy of WrestleMania? As much as I want to see Jacob Fatu in that spotlight, but just not now. Yeah, because you got to build that, right?
Yeah, I don't think Fatu was. So what's that? 8 months from now? Like 6 months? Like not yet. 6 months.
So okay, Rock not being available for WrestleMania, so it's Cody against someone, and if it's someone in this company, it's a match that we've already seen. When you think about it, Cody, Randy Orton at WrestleMania. Sounds like Backlash to me. Well, it's just saying.
Well, then I will offer this. What if it's not Cody? What if Roman's the one you can't not have in there?
Roman against?
I had Rollins.
Sure.
Like, there's plenty of story there. There's plenty to go with because, yeah, you mentioned the bloodline, but, like, there's no one else there I want to see in a main event in WrestleMania. I don't want to see Solo in a main event. I don't want to see Jay. I don't want to see Jimmy. Eventually, we could see a Fatu, but I don't think we're ready yet. Roman, I think, is the one they're like, all right, well, he's going to be there. And that'll be, what feels like 20 straight Mania main events for him. But Cody doesn't have that other end. And you're like, all right, let's do this. Like, Roman and Rollins, you could tell some stories. You could do some stuff there.
Sounds like a good night 1 matchup. I'm just saying. But I'll go along with you if you tell me that Seth Rollins is a heel.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Well, then pissed off.
I also would throw in then, like we talked about last week, what if you find a way to put the title on Drew? Roman and Drew?
Roman Drew. If it's not bloodline related, people will not be interested in it. I'm just telling you. See, this is what's happened with WWE, Brian. So this is what's happened. So the bloodline is the strongest thing for years in WWE. And listen, I'm not tired of it. It's fine.
Right.
I'm not tired of the bloodline because there's still layers. Jimmy and Jay face to face this week. Like I don't want to deal with Roman stuff. This is what we talked about, by the way.
Yep.
Can you recruit Jey Uso now that he's a single star Intercontinental champion? Will he want to be involved? He says no. Okay, Jimmy Uso tells Roman Reigns, we need help. We need people to take on this bloodline 2.0. So that's fine. But then there's this gap.
Yeah.
We like Drew, we like Punk, we like Gunther, we like Sammy, we like Rick Steiner's son, Braun Breaker. We like a lot of these guys in the middle, but can they be on a top level? Because I feel like night one of WrestleMania will be, if it's hot enough, could be something for the women.
I'm 100% okay with that. Like, I would love Rhea get that spot.
But what about the other side?
Right.
If it's not bloodline, then what could be? Because if you're saying it doesn't involve Cody, then what's hot enough besides Roman? Who can Roman take on that could be as hot as something that involves the bloodline?
So the only thing I can think of, because when you think of the end of night 2, you think of that feel good. Like WrestleMania night 2 is not going to end with someone in a plastic bag. I can almost guarantee that. Like, almost guarantee. Maybe Hunter takes a hard left turn and you don't know that, we don't see it coming. So like the finishing of the story and using that motto, the only thing coming to mind, because I don't think any of the young guys are there yet, is Punk becoming world champion again.
Punk against
Roman.
Why are you trying to take the title off of Cody? You're tired of the Cody run. Is that it?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh God.
But I guess, I mean, if it's Cody Punk, I'd be okay with that. But like the fans aren't going to be that into Punk winning the title there.
Because they know what's on the other side.
Right.
Injury.
That Punk Gunther, that doesn't carry it, right?
Not for the second night of main event. And I understand where you're going because Punk wants to be the main event of a night at WrestleMania.
Yes.
But if you're WWE and you're smart, this is not anything against Punk, but you put the title on him, how often can he really defend it?
Sure.
You're tempting fate anyway for this whole thing with him and McIntyre. You were.
Right.
But he was healthy enough and got through it. That's fine. But can he put up the same kind of touring schedule as Cody Rhodes?
No, he's not going to every town.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is weird. Like,
Punk's
Rock said what he said. Like, I'm pretty confident Dwayne will be there, but like, if he isn't, like, there is a big drop off right now.
Yeah, because we just talked about this. Was it last week? Like, Austin probably won't be there, so everyone would love to see Austin Punk. Because that's generational. Punk goes over, but that's an attraction, not a night 2 main event scenario.
And which is fine because I think in that situation, like, you don't need the 5-star classic. Like, we loved Roman and Cody, and it wasn't this amazing wrestling match. It was a spectacle. It was a circus, and it was fun. But I'm just trying to think, like, even if there's someone else that, like, to get that big moment, no one's ready yet.
Yeah. Well, I think you should just say it. That outside the bloodline and what's happening with Judgment Day, in some ways with Judgment Day, they don't have a strong enough act or two that you could say, yep, that's main event quality.
Right.
Night 1 or night 2. And that's a problem.
No, I agree.
Yeah, but again, I just named for you a half dozen guys that you and I both like in WWE for where they are. But can you say Gunther should be night 2 in the main event of WrestleMania against Cody or against Roman or whoever the champion is?
Probably not. And that's the thing. This shows that they're leaning on the part-timers again. Like, as good as Hunter has done at reforming the WWE and the way we watch WWE wrestling from the garbage it was pre-Hunter, the fact that their biggest picture still relies on a movie star and a part-timer is a little concerning.
It is.
Yeah.
It's the hottest thing going.
Right, it is.
I mean, he has established the mid-card big time. You ever watch SmackDown?
Yeah.
I mean, you get enough of Apollo Crews and it's Baron Corbin
and you get Carmelo versus Andrade every week. Again, yeah.
And so, is he one of those guys going to be in the main event at WrestleMania? No. Now, listen, I understand everyone has their slot, but the bloodline slot cannot just be just that.
Right.
And when it's not, it's Cody against KO.
Right.
But in Paris, handing a championship opportunity. That's what it is. It's Cody against Shinsuke Nakamura, who also got another title match, by the way. Did you see this overseas?
No.
Quietly. Oh, no, quietly. In their tour
okay.
in the tour of the UK, got another match against Cody.
I mean, he's not even on TV.
Exactly. See?
Yeah, as we break this down, it is a little concerning there.
But I think we should just say it. Outside of the bloodline, what's the act that could be at WrestleMania Night 2? If there's no Rock, fine. Then it's Cody versus who?
Yeah, that's odd. Well, we can actually transition then. So with the Cody story, we saw the turn of Kevin Owens a week ago. We saw Owens and Orton go at it Friday. So go ahead, let's book Cody Rhodes' WrestleMania path.
Okay, so we have this match at Crown Jewel that we don't need.
Yep, November 2nd, it'll be Cody versus Gunther.
Okay, Cody Gunther. So
for a fake title.
We got to get past that. Gunther wins, by the way.
Yep.
Um,
because of KO, or does KO not make those trips?
No, I think KO will be there for outside interference to help Gunther. And then people won't forget that. You're supposed to forget that, like it didn't happen. You keep in mind, folks. You understand that Crown Jewel's Etch a Sketch. Understand this, right? You just you see it. All right, it didn't happen. You move forward, right? Because it doesn't. Because there's no connective tissue to the storyline,
right?
At all with this. It's like these are just one-offs. It's a house show with lights and cameras, so don't pay no attention to this. It's just what the Crown Prince wants in Saudi Arabia. So then we go from Cody to Gunther, and now Cody and KO. We talked about this last week. A matchup that we all want to see now because KO, who had the opportunity on social media to spill the beans, threatened to say that he's going to tell you why he turned on Cody or why Cody turned on him next week.
Right.
But but record on now. Explain it now.
No, he sent this video. He's not doing 2 takes. He did his 1 take. That's it.
He's in some hotel room in Bismarck, North Dakota, someplace, and won't tell us why he turned.
So and rocking the Dusty shirt, a good extra touch there also.
That's funny. I think that was on his birthday too. That's a good look there. Cody KO after that. Now we're going to start turning into our Royal Rumble because you told us that there's no pay-per-view after Vancouver, after Survivor Series.
Right. So November 30th, Survivor Series. You have Saturday Night Main Event, December 14th, and then Raw on Netflix, January 6th.
Cody KO is going to be on Saturday Night's Main Event. That's the main event. Yeah.
But I also will add, I think KO wins the title. Either at Main Event or at Raw on Netflix. They put the title on KO.
Wait a minute. They put the title on Kevin Owens.
Yes.
Why?
In my mind, it's this show like, hey, anything can happen on these shows. I put it back on Cody at the Rumble.
Oh, they have a rematch at the Rumble.
Yeah, rematch at the Rumble. Cody gets it there. And then you have an Orton turn on Cody, and then we eventually get Cody Orton at Mania.
Okay, so then Cody has nobody then. 0 allies besides maybe Roman Reigns, and that's if.
That's it, yeah. When you're at the top, people are gunning for you.
You got to have some friends, for God's sakes. He's on an island by himself, Brian. You can't do that.
Hey, that's just the road he travels. You're the champ. The target's on your back.
Are you really serious that KO could win the championship in mid-December?
So I would say maybe not that one, but I think Raw on Netflix just to show, hey, anything can happen on a Monday night, and KO gets the strap for a month.
So we're not getting Rock Cody on night 1 of Netflix.
I don't think so.
It just can't be just the Miz and R-Truth. We got to have some with some teeth on that first night. Get some quality.
Maybe you got a Karrion Kross match.
What with that? That'll bring them in. That'll add more subscriptions. Sure, no problem. KO, you have KO as a champion.
Just for a month, just to switch it up a little bit so we don't have the same world champion year round until Mania, just to add to the intrigue a little bit.
I'm looking at the bottom here. Is this an AEW topic? I don't see. It says WrestleMania there on the bottom of the screen.
Cody will be the champ for Mania. We'll just, a little hiatus in between.
Hiatus?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. That would shake up the title picture. That's for sure with KO being the champion. That would shake up the title picture. Yeah.
At this point, we only see title changes at Manias.
Yes.
So why not just throw us one outside of Mania?
I wonder, is there a little bit of that won't work for me, brother? Do you think
From
that Cody?
Cody?
Yes. I don't know.
I hope not. Like, KO has busted his ass for this company, reportedly re-signing again, even though I get my hopes up every time that contract news comes up with him. Like, throw the guy a bone.
The next WWE Universal Champion is Kevin Owens.
Mm-hmm.
There's a way to book it. That is for sure. It definitely makes it a little bit more spicier. It makes people pay more attention to Cody.
Right.
It's something like Cody fighting from behind. Remember that whole story? People were behind him because he's trying to finish his story.
Mm-hmm.
So if he drops it, that would be interesting on NBC. Is
right.
that a live or a tape show, by the way?
I believe it's live.
Okay. All right.
From the Nassau Coliseum. Historic.
Okay. All right.
We got to look up the callbacks. Like, what are some of the famous things that have happened there? Because I feel like that's Cody's story now. It's just like callbacks.
Nassau Coliseum. I don't know. That's like Hogan, Bob
big?
Orton.
Yeah.
Hogan, Bob Orton. Maybe a superplex finish.
Okay.
Something like that. I don't know. But I think that the Cody Rhodes WrestleMania path is very interesting in that Cody is the champion now. He's got to get past Gunther. He's got to go take on KO. But then he's going to be right back into the bloodline thing. I'm just hoping that we're not getting like some spectacular tag team match as one of these matches for WrestleMania again. Let's not go back and do that again. A title has to be on the line of some sort.
So that's why I think if it's him and Orton, I'm fine with, like, it's an okay match. Like, it'll be a good match, but like in terms of WrestleMania payoff, it's like whatever. But that's a path, and that keeps Cody away from the bloodline because I think that's run its course at this point.
Let's keep our eyes on it. That's for sure. Saturday night's main event will tell a great story.
Yeah, it'll be a fun one.
All right, what's next, Brian?
All right, let's do a little news and notes. You're going to have to change your television Saturday night. I know you'll be locked in Georgia, Texas, but
oh man,
after AEW Collision comes to an end, it's AEW Battle of the Belts 12. This Saturday night, right after Collision, you got to tune in. As of now, just one match announced. Mariah May versus Anna Jay, a women's title eliminator match. So the title is not actually on the line, but there'll be some others. Battle of the Belts 12, turn off Georgia, Texas. Tune into that.
I'm not doing that.
What?
I'm not doing that.
Battle of the Belts.
Yes.
Prestigious show.
Yes. Battle of the Belts is the same as Title Tuesday. One title on the line. Title Tuesday, one title on the line.
Well, we don't exactly even have that yet. We're at 0 right now, but that's fine.
It's unbelievable. Battle of the Belts is such a disaster.
Yeah.
A great concept from back in the day, and yet there's nothing that ever happens on these shows. As I always tell you, it's Collision, and then when Collision's over, Darkness, Battle of the Belts. No open, nothing different. No,
well, tell my DVR that. They're two separate shows in my DVR.
No different ring skirt, nothing. It just picks up from where the last Battle of the Belts. I think there was like some great match that spilled over into Battle of the Belts. If you call this, it was 20 minutes in. It was still Collision 20 minutes late. Still into like, well, when does Battle of the Belts start?
Yeah.
It was.
What's your favorite Battle of the Belts memory? It's in the past 11. Do you have one that you go back and watch all the time?
No, I do not.
No? Okay, yeah. Okay.
But I still have my Clash of Champions VHSs.
Okay, good.
I got those. Those are a lot more important than this Battle of the Belts nonsense.
That's the surprising part. Like, Tony being such a fan, like when we first heard this announced, like, oh, it's Clash of the Champions, you would think it's going to be a big deal. And then they just forget about it. It's like, oh, hey, by the way, Wednesday, Battle of the Belts. Like, oh, shit. Mariah May, go out there.
That's so bad. Now, that's a matchup I do want to see.
Sure.
Anna Jay was right in her chest, pardon the expression, on Wednesday, right in the face of Mariah May. So it'll be a fine match.
Yeah. So you have that to look forward to. Some injury news. AJ Styles made his return to SmackDown October 4th. Had to have his match cut short, and well, it is apparently a legit injury. He revealed on Twitter it's a Liz Frank injury. He added that he's, quote, cooked.
So that's a funny thing about wrestling, right? And it's very rare, but when we see a legit injury, we go, okay, storyline. But the way he pounded his hand against the mat, I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, they have a sympathy angle going with AJ Styles until it actually was a thing, and they stopped the match. And it was fun because Carmelo Hayes was able to make this like a story, like, yeah, I beat AJ Styles, that kind of thing. But I thought it was that was a rib. I thought it was just they were working us and it's a real legit injury. So all the best to AJ Styles, because he was going to go on another babyface run. You could tell.
Right? Yeah. He revealed on Twitter also that like the pain when he took his boot off, he was expecting to see his bone just sticking out of his foot. That's how much it hurt.
Ooh, man, there's nothing like the legit injury.
Right.
And like you just because as a wrestling fan, you don't know how to feel. It's like, why the match stop? That's weird.
And a lingering one like that, like when we see in sports where it's like, I don't know if we're going to see another AJ Styles run at this point.
Oh, we may. And that's coming up. We may.
Okay.
Not an AJ Styles run, but someone his age.
Oh, okay. Yes, that is true.
We just saw it on Wednesday.
How about some New Japan news? Tanahashi revealing this weekend his final match will take place January 4th of 26, so one final year for Tanahashi. Also in New Japan this weekend at New Japan's King of Pro Wrestling show, Zack Sabre Jr., the new IWGP World Champ.
Good for Zack Sabre Jr. Good for him. He actually lives in Japan, Brian.
Wow.
And he speaks the language. I saw the promo afterwards. He speaks the language, and I think he was in the ring with Sonata after his match was done, and Sonata wants a title match, but he's not one of these guys that, all right, I'm the champion, I'll go to the UK or come to the States. He actually lives there. So I think that's a good thing, that he lives there. He's a champion. It's well-deserved. With Tanahashi, I was hoping that you'd tell me that January 2025, that'll be all.
Oh, okay.
He's still wrestling. He's going to do one more year?
Yeah. Him and Cena farewell tour in 25.
I feel bad because I need to go back and watch Tanahashi when he was good.
Yeah.
It's been, I mean, his matches, man, it's a guy that's on his last legs. He should not be wrestling anymore. I mean, seriously, that the match with MJF, and every time he comes to AEW, he's on one leg. The guitar sucks, brother. I think you and I need to be able to go back and watch from like 15 years ago, like when he was like Rick Steamboat over there. but this guy here, he's about cooked. He's cooked.
Yeah. I'm sure we still have New Japan World subscriptions that we don't know how to cancel, so we can go back and watch it.
I've been trying. I just can't. I've been trying to.
But Sabre Jr. also, he reveals he's loyal to the company. He's not one of those guys looking to do other things.
Yeah.
Him as the world champion is pretty cool to see.
I do. I've always liked him, technical wrestler. And so I'm happy that he's running that company. Anybody but the guy they had before. Was it who he beat?
He beat
the guy
Naito.
Naito. Can't stand him.
Yeah, he's not great.
Spits on guys. Just the worst. Let me tell you something, Brian. We have a wrestling match, and you go, hey brother, watch for the spit spot. I would break your jaw. Legitimately. Like you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. I mean, I win, lose, or draw. I don't care.
Right.
But if you spit on me to get heat. And then, of course, that doesn't work because people are just like, oh, he spit on him.
Yeah.
It's not like it used to be. If you spit on me, I would try to find a way to break your jaw.
Yeah, that's sort of frowned upon. Finally, in news and notes, time to fire up your Triller TV app. Scott D'Amore's Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling makes its debut this weekend. 2 nights, Saturday and Sunday on Triller. Some of the main events. Takeshita defends the international title against Josh Alexander. Athena defends the Ring of Honor women's title against Giselle Shaw. Mike Bailey versus El Phantasmo. And a table match. Bully Ray versus the artist formerly known as Jinder Mahal.
Okay. That's not bad. That's fine. Let me be the first to tell you before anyone else has it on their podcast.
Okay.
We'll be watching this.
Uh-huh.
It's Scott D'Amore, so I know it's going to be good. It's probably got to. And Mauro Ranallo, by the way, is doing play-by-play with Don Callis,
which is awesome.
Okay. This whole thing with Maple Leaf Pro is a grift on TNA. For TNA to allow some of their wrestlers to go over there to the guy that they fired. Hold on a second. What kind of contracts do you have? You fired Scott D'Amore. He's starting a Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling show with a mixture of TNA talent, AEW talent, all that, independent talent. Those wrestlers are going to be wrestling on the guy you fired on his show.
That's a very good point.
Brian, how is that allowed? How do you? You're a TNA, but we fired this guy. But you can put money in his pocket. Go over there.
Also amusing that like the TNA guys and girls are gonna be the ones not winning. Excuse me. Like Josh Alexander is not going to win the international title. Giselle Shaw is not going to win the ROH women's title. So they're going to go work for him and then take losses also.
Yeah, and get an extra payday to a guy they fired.
Yeah,
how does TNA allow that?
Quite a business model.
So what I'm telling you is that even though TNA's had a very successful 2024, they've sold out a number of venues, Montreal, San Antonio. They've done a really good job this year. Chicago. But still, like, they're pilfering your talent to put in someone else's pocket.
That is odd. But
and work with someone that they liked, actually. They liked Scott before Scott was fired.
Yeah, they all were very vocal about that. But that being said, Takeshita versus Josh Alexander, I think that is worth all $30 that Triller is asking.
That's gonna be awesome. And AEW talent, yes, like you said, like that. He's like, that's gonna be. And Morrow back on the mic. Yeah. So that's, to me, I think that's a win-win. Good for Scott D'Amore. Yeah. They're on Triller TV. People believe in Scott. It's not gonna just be some promoters you don't know. So I think it'll work out fine.
There you have it, Art. What do you got as matches of the week?
Well, let's talk about Shelton Benjamin first.
Let's.
Brother.
How is that man 49?
Brother, let me just tell you something. Shelton Benjamin, Leo Rush.
Uh-huh.
Bell rings. Leo Rush is doing his dipping and dodging and moving aside and moving left and right and just trying to move all over the place. And Shelton Benjamin hooks up, brother. He's up there and he's ready to go. And just the camera angle that we saw made Leo Rush look like he was 3 feet tall and made Shelton Benjamin look 6'5". And we know that's not the case. I was so impressed. And look, we know that he can go. But he looks so fresh out there because he hasn't been wrestling a lot. Right. When you're in catering in WWE all these years and you still got good years in front of you, it's almost like you tack on extra years. Like, we'll take off like 4 years. So now you're really 44, 45, right? And he looks so good, Brian. I was so impressed by what I saw.
Like, I was excited about this signing, but also cautiously optimistic. I'm like, well, it is 2024. It's not 2002 Shelton Benjamin. I was like, man, but if it is, and then seeing that last night, send him to the moon. Like, I'm ready for it. Him and Kenny next week. Let's go. Like, I'm excited.
You want the immediate push of Shelton Benjamin.
Uh-huh. In 2024.
Brother, let me tell you something. Didn't even break a sweat.
No.
He did. I told you before the show, he did so. I think I've seen a little bit of wrestling over the years. I've never seen someone do a step-up knee lift right to the jaw of Leo Rush. And then, of course, Shelton's falling to the ground while that happens. But every move had impact. Every move wasn't like, while Leo Rush is trying to do his, springboard stunner, like Shelton's like, no, I'm not taking that, brother.
Right.
Like Shelton comes across as a cyborg. I love it.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, I'm not taking these little flippy moves. And then everything I do has impact. Even the finisher, you're like, oh, that's a transition for everybody else in AEW. It's a finisher for Shelton Benjamin. That suplex or whatever he did there, he ruined Leo Rush. Crushed
and
it.
Also announced last night in 2 weeks in Cleveland at Fright Night, I believe they're calling it.
Yeah.
Shelton versus Swerve.
Too fast. Go ahead.
Really?
I don't need that quick.
Well, you're going to get your guy Lashley maybe that night.
Okay, maybe he will be in Cleveland. Maybe he will be. But no, I just want to give Shelton Benjamin his flowers, man, because it did the whole presentation with MVP. Yeah. We got the cane pointing at him old school. I'm like, this act is fantastic. Let's go.
I'm curious to see who they add. Like the Acclaim, talking to the Acclaim last night, like maybe a Max Caster heel turn and being part of that group. I'd be into that.
I've been waiting for this for a while. I can't stand Max Caster. He's such a dick. He's been a heel the whole time. So turn him heel. So
I'm fine with that.
Your favorite match in Tacoma at Wrestle Dream. Your favorite match was?
So I really enjoyed Mariah and Willow early in the night. I thought that those two were outstanding. But in terms of match of the night, the triple threat, Ospreay, Ricochet, Takeshita, we knew going in how good it was going to be, and somehow it still exceeded expectations. And I think at this point, when we do our end of the year awards and we have match of the year, there has to be an Ospreay category and then an everyone else match of the year category.
I think, before we don't even have to put Gabe in on that. I think we should Gabe, this is what we're doing. Okay.
Right. All right. And I don't even know, like, it's going to be difficult to pick just one Ospreay match even of match of the year, because every time he goes out there, it's a candidate for it.
Man, I think that's fair because, like, there's about 6 or 7 that we could say Ospreay match of the year. So I totally get that. Anything from Raw that you like the women's tag team matchup where you had Kairi Sane and Io Sky against Cargill and Belair?
I had that match down. I thought it was good. continue to be impressed by the way Jade has improved in the ring, and it was, her holding her own there. No surprise there with those 4. Has there ever been a women's tag team title story though, or we just throw matches together ever since they made those belts?
We're just doing matches.
Okay, good, because they also defended on Friday against 2 people from NXT who I'm not familiar with.
The combination of Lash Legend and Jakara.
Yes.
Jakara, yeah. So there's a section of Twitter that was not happy because we go right back to the Triple H press conference.
Yeah.
I don't see and so here's Lash Legend and Jakara coming down, and then there's Kevin Owens out of nowhere trying to explain his part, and boy, Twitter melted. You mean these women aren't going to be able to wrestle? And then, of course, they do wrestle, and it's 4 minutes. And now, so people even now they double down the pistol. Now
they also, during the KO thing, if you notice, they have to stand ringside. Like, they get their entrance interrupted, and they have to stand there awkwardly like, we're not involved in this. Like, all right, match time.
I knew this. I knew Twitter would melt after what was said and all the, all the discussion. And now here we go. So that's great.
Because Hunter didn't realize it. Because he didn't see color, so he didn't realize what he was doing was a mistake.
But hey, look at the SmackDown card. Oh, doctor. You talk about compensation. You talk about overcompensating. I was like, wait a minute. Take a look at that card. Every match, every segment. Here's someone here. Is anyone black in the back? Anyone? Tamina. She doesn't work for the company anymore. Oh wow. Somebody. Coco Ware. Anybody back there? No. MVP. Fired. Oh, okay.
Damn.
He was waving him like a third base coach. Boy, I tell you, I was laughing my ass off. I'm like, I'm not going to talk about this on Twitter. I'll just tell Bryan.
Good. Appreciate
it. Did you like Moxley? So Moxley Danielson is that third on your list? I really like that match a lot.
I thought it was a good match, but like I'd put it behind Hangman and Jay White.
All right, that's over the top. Now you don't have to do that.
Why?
Hang on now. Don't do that.
And Jay White winning clean. Like, I was very into that opening match.
All right.
It was good, Mox and Bryan, but it was good.
What should have been better? Danielson winning?
I don't know. It felt like it was missing something. And I think part of it might have been just the waiting for Bryan to win and then the finish. I don't know if it's an old school thing. Like, give me the arm dropping.
You wanted 3 times the arm dropping. That's what you wanted.
I think that would have added to it.
He was dying in the ring. He was done.
Drop the arm 3 times.
Oh, that's so ridiculous. He wanted WWF Superstars finish.
Don't hold up. Just let it drop 3 times, and that's it.
It was one of the best matches we saw this weekend.
It was good, yeah.
That wasn't a Jey Uso match. That was the main event of Wrestle Dream.
I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying there was a lot better on that card, which was a really good card.
You have any thoughts on Mordos? Would you like to talk about that as well?
I love him, but that match, I think because it followed the triple threat match, like they had the swerve stuff in between, it felt like a letdown. Like the crowd wasn't into it. Like, I don't know.
Mordos against Hologram. Well, those fans don't watch Collision.
Right. So
I think one of the high spots of Wednesday night was Mordos in a polo.
Yes, that was very unexpected.
He was in a nice button-up polo. Hello, I'm Mordos.
Hey.
Would you checking your hotel? Yes, ma'am. Mortos Beast.
Oh, okay.
What's right here? Okay.
You have horns on your head, sir.
1 card or 2. Go right ahead. There you have that. Okay. Anything else now? Our right over here is our guest rooms here. We've got ice. Whatever you need. Rawr!
Also, very random. No PLEs this weekend.
How about that? A non-PLE weekend.
Yeah.
So we get a chance to spend time with our family and breathe a little bit. But we do have the show Maple Leaf Pro.
That's right. And Battle of the Belts 12.
All right. That'll be all. That's fine. Now you've done it. Now you went over the top. Now we've got to go because of you.
Oh.
Folks, we thank you so much for checking out Good Karma Wrestling. Again, follow us on Twitter, on X at GKW_wrestling. We're on TikTok as well, GKW Wrestling on TikTok. And of course, YouTube. Right. YouTube.com. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We really need that for our algorithms. I'm paid to say that. So that helps us. Brian knows more about that than I do. He knows their algorithms of how things are going.
Click and like, comment, subscribe. That's what the cool kids say.
Yes, please do that. We appreciate that. So for Gabe Neitzel and his funny pants, and for Brian Rowitz, this is Jonathan Hood. Thanks so much for checking out Good Karma Wrestling. So long from the land of Lincoln and the Sunshine State.